Protest against Common Roll update. NCDC gives support to Electoral Commission. And BSP says do not charge EFTPOS fees on customers.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Tuesday's news. A peaceful protest was conducted in Wabeg town yesterday. Eligible voters in the Wabeg Open Electorate protested against the Electoral Commission. Spokesperson Lawrence Simon said the Common Roll update was conducted late and they are demanding the use of the 2017 Common Roll for this year's national general elections. A petition was also handed to the provincial election manager requesting to halt the 2022 Common Roll updates in Wabeg district.
It was one against hundreds of protesters in Wabeg town yesterday morning. Election manager Anton Yamau tried to explain the election processes and laws, but the protesters said they're tired of hearing the same old stories, which in the end result in the elections rigged. The office of the Electoral Commission was laid to update the Common Roll, including the records in the wards, causing outbursts from voters. They said 3 months was not enough time to complete the exercise in the 45 wards of Wabeg electorate.
So what we will know is free, fair and safe election. We are not against anyone. We are not against any impeachment member in this electorate. We are against some practices in the particular office. Some practices which are not right with their consciousness. That's why we are telling the officials to correct that and conduct free, fair and safe elections.
They have petitioned the Electoral Commission to suspend the roll update exercise and use the 2017 roll for this year's national general elections. The protesters also insisted for the Electoral Commission to increase the population by 15% only in every ward as stated in the law. This would discourage unlimited enrollment that is currently happening through the Common Roll update. The voters also feared that such last-minute exercise can cause numbers to inflate or deflate, and this can have a huge impact to the election outcome, and they do not want to repeat the same mistakes of past elections.
Stop it immediately. You got power and you got right. I'm talking about line must be your same. This is 15%. This is Common Roll update. People local people stop him. Larry people go 15%. People stick to 15%. Then you can confuse him by 12%. No, Common Roll update for Karakamna. Substitute name, head name. No. That is going to create no problem. I think the point is very clear and straightforward.
Election manager Anton Yamau responded that the funding shortage to EC and down to the provincial offices has caused the delay in updating the Common Roll. Yamau said the voters have the right to petition the Electoral Commission and a response will be forthcoming.
Through in no time, so no time because money is not work. Government you mean you know, give him money, you go to the commission, you got up now. Last week, almost give some money. That is why
the protesters said they will take the matter to court if they do not get a favorable response from the Electoral Commission. Vasanata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
The 2022 national general elections in NCD will be supported by the NCD Provincial Election Steering Committee. Through the signing of an MOU this morning, NCD will stand ready to assist the PNG Electoral Commission with additional support for logistics, human resource and facilitation of counting venues. This support includes a promised funding of 1.5 million kina.
The support provided by the NCD Provincial Election Steering Committee is a continued effort to ensure a free and fair election come polling time.
It's our duty to support the PNG Electoral Commission. I think we've done it over many years. And this year is no different. I think NEC has also gone forward to reaffirm the support that all provinces must dig deep and support the PNG Electoral Commission. Resources, in whatever form it is, money, whatever, logistics, human resource, all these are very, very important.
NCD is a metropolitan city surrounded by the central province. It has over 364,000 people as per census report of 2011. The city is divided into Mosby Northwest, Mosby Northeast and Mosby South electorates, with a governor as head of the city. The assistance provided to PNG EC through the MOU will include human resource, logistics support, and hiring of counting venues.
Your coming signifies that you are ready for us to run the elections and to cooperate as you used to do in the past. Experience in the past elections as well as the current recent by-elections in the Mosby Northwest. And so similar things are going to happen. And this MOE is not tying you to anything. I don't want to take us too long, but it's just an understanding for us to work together. Plans we had for the city, Mr. Kipit and the rest of the NCDC, we were looking at election issues in the past, and as far as the reports and the observer reports are concerned, we have issues with the role, we have issues with the election process. We have all these things to address and come up with objectives to, create objectives to aim and correct some of those issues.
The Electoral Commission has been allocated 311 million kina by the Marape government to conduct the 2022 national elections. With just 2 months away from the start of the elections, the Electoral Commission still needs to complete the updating of the electoral roll and mobilize funds from other provinces to assist run the elections. Thekla Jogo, National EMTV News.
West New Britain Governor Sasindran Mutuvel says Thalassia district deserves the creation of a new electoral boundary. Mutuvel says if this is ignored, development challenges will remain. Governor Mutuvel hopes the Electoral Boundary Commission report will not be overlooked by Parliament in the February sitting.
Of course,
in an interview with the West New Britain Governor, he spoke of the need to split Thalassia district. He said the high population growth has triggered the population with an estimation of 400,000 alone in the Thalassia district. Mutuvel says levels of government struggle to deliver services to the people.
But as a province, for too long, Yumi Woglo ignoring these challenges where some districts where are genuinely need him support.
Thalassia district has 7 LLGs. Governor Mutuvel says with the EBC report finalized for Parliament, he hopes this will be an agenda in the February session. Mutuvel says leaders must be bold and be decisive and not allow political affiliation to push away people's plight.
Of course, time you got district, okay, the SIP funding follows number of districts. Now, even otherwise, people's interests also need to be represented fairly. The people's welfare and interest and also governed fairly. So, Mipla deserve kisim this additional electorate, and of course, many other districts also deserve.
Another district hopeful for a separation is Nipa Kutubu in the Southern Highlands province. Community leaders say the district is overpopulated and has a huge landmass. They also call on the government to hear the cries.
And we know that Kutubu Bosawe is one of the priority proposed electorates that EBC has considered and has recommended to government. And we are ever ready to work with the government and EBC for the administrative if the new electorate is created.
While all this hangs in the balance, from records, previous EBC reports submitted to Parliament has been either ignored or swept under the carpet. The West New Britain Governor is appealing to leaders for fair consideration.
And I pray and hope that before Mipla Golo 2022 election, this breed of leaders in this Parliament will address this issue and give some comfort to all our people in those deserving electorates.
Jack Lopava Jr., National EMTV News.
BSP Financial Group Limited CEO Robin Fleming says EFTPOS merchants around the country are not supposed to be charging surcharges on customers for getting cash back. CEO Fleming says it is illegal and technically not right for this to be happening, as reported in various parts of the country, particularly in semi-urban and rural areas.
Electronic funds transfer at point of sale, or more commonly known by the acronym EFTPOS, has become a popular and convenient way of paying for goods and services in Papua New Guinea. BSP Financial Group Limited has over 8,000 merchants access points throughout Papua New Guinea with over 13,000 EFTPOS terminals. Customers also have the option of getting cash back at an EFTPOS terminal. However, this service has become a concern lately when some EFTPOS merchants have been reported to be charging extra fees on customers when they want to get cash back apart from paying for goods or services at point of sale. BSP CEO Robin Fleming is unhappy over this, saying it is not the right thing to do and it is also illegal.
Most definitely it's not right. It's not legal. They shouldn't be charging those additional fees. BSP changed its merchant fee charges about 2.5 to 3 years ago to reduce the cost of those EFTPOS transactions for our merchants. But despite that, we do know that certain merchants take advantage of, again, they're not just our customers, they're advantage of people in their community and add surcharges on. We've had these discussions with ICCC, and BSP has the right to be able to remove an EFTPOS terminal from those locations where people are applying a surcharge that they shouldn't.
CEO Fleming says BSP has the right to remove EFTPOS terminals from merchants who are charging surcharge on customers. However, this also has the potential to affect the people who depend on EFTPOS machines to purchase goods or pay for services. Mr. Fleming shared the experience of witnessing particular merchants in Bougainville recently charging extra fees on customers.
I was in Bougainville last October, and at Wakanai I think they were charging 12 kina for a cash-out transaction. And it was priced just so it was a little bit cheaper than the PMV fare from Wakanai through to Booker. So again, it's the community who suffers. We can take the EFTPOS terminal out. The only potential disadvantage is then that the customers don't then get a chance to have access to even non-cash out purchases at those particular trade stores.
BSP offers 3 types of EFTPOS terminals. One is the dial-up, which works on a dedicated phone line and a power outlet. The other one is the GPRS, which uses a wireless network and is portable. And the third one is the IP-based terminal, which is linked to IP connectivity for larger installations and has fast and efficient processing times. Some of the benefits that EFTPOS terminals have for merchants include improving profitability for the merchant, reduces cash holding, and transactions are paid directly to the merchant's account.
Strongly suggest and encourage you not to charge those fees. It's for your own benefit to provide cash out, because then you don't have to travel to the bank yourself to do the deposits for cash. It is mutually beneficial for both the merchant and the customer and the bank to be able to have that full range of facilities using the EFTPOS terminal without charging a customer a surcharge to get cash out.
Dennis Orere, National EMTV News.
According to national budget estimates, Papua New Guinea will experience economic growth by 5.4% in real term in 2022, after a muted recovery of 1.5% in 2021. BSP Financial Group Limited CEO Robin Fleming said effective progress in key resource projects will be the major determining factor for providing economic stimulus.
Coming off the back of 2020 and 2021, we're really looking for some increased economic activity, and that's going to be in large part associated with some of the announcements that the government's made, especially in regard to Porgera, to get the mine up and running, reopened sometime between April and June. That's going to provide a lot of economic stimulus. We're also seeing that even though we're going through that wave of Omicron COVID strain at the moment, borders are starting to be more full. The border restrictions are starting to relax. So we're seeing more capability to be able to move people from Australia to PNG, more capability from people from PNG to be able to start travelling. And as those restrictions reduce, then there's likely to see some more people travelling into PNG as well. So some of those key sectors which had been affected by COVID, hotels, accommodation, and the transport sector, whether it's air transport or land transport with Porgera, we do see some bounce back. And then as you look towards the end of this year and early next year, there's likely to be some pre-feed work associated with the next range of LNG projects as well between Papua LNG and Pyongyang. So that's where our confidence comes from, the reopening of Porgera this year, seeing travel start to re-emerge, not quite to the extent it was pre-COVID, but certainly far more interaction between both countries and the associated economic outputs that come with that international travel, and then some early works hopefully towards the end of the year with the LNG projects.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll have more stories after these short messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The Commonwealth Consolidated Holdings has donated $1 million kina to the St. John Ambulance to support the organisation. The cheque presentation was made yesterday by KCH Acting Managing Director, Professor David Kavanamur, to a representative from St. John Ambulance.
For over 90 years, St. John Ambulance has been a national health and humanitarian charity, saving many Papua New Guinean lives with its ambulance and air medical services. Yesterday, Acting Managing Director of Kumul Consolidated Holdings, Dr. David Kavanamur, presented a cheque worth $1 million kina to the ambulance service in Port Moresby. Dr. Kavanamur says, as part of its community service obligations, it is their pleasure to be contributing towards the St. John Ambulance, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic.
To St. John's Ambulance, an important community service institution that's part of the social fabric of the country in terms of the civic society that Papua New Guinea enjoys.
Monique Cross, Director Operations Logistics of the St. John's Ambulance, says the kind ongoing support from KCH and others has been of a great support towards the medical logistic team around the country. Monique Cross says with the funds they receive, they are able to carry out more medical logistics services, not only in Port Moresby but also in other remote centres of PNG.
This funding goes primarily to support the required immediate expansion of our National Ambulance Control Centre, which actually coordinates a lot of our responses throughout the country, not only in NCD, but also in Lae, Kundiawa, and also Kokopo, where our regional stations are.
Joy Olali, National EMTV News.
Despite rescue efforts by paramedics from St. John Ambulance, a man accidentally got electrocuted and died. The incident happened just after midday today when the victim was walking down the street near Crown Hotel in downtown Port Moresby. He was thrown several meters down a cliff and his body found 50 meters away from downed live wires. Acting Assistant Chief of Ambulance Services, Terence Toria, said the incident is associated with live wires nearby. St. John received an urgent call for help at 12:50 p.m. and a crew was sent to rescue the man. But after attending to the victim for some time, he showed no signs of life. The victim was later loaded onto a stretcher and taken to Port Moresby General Hospital, where he was formally pronounced dead. Chairman of the Labuta Cocoa Cooperative, Ruben Yapi, says cocoa supply from the area has declined because of deteriorated roads and less cocoa ferment trees. Mr. Yapi said the cooperative has registered over 2,000 farmers since 2016. These farmers have been struggling over the years due to lack of support from the government and the Cocoa Board towards the cooperative.
Labuta Cocoa Cooperative was part of a development forum under a partnership between the Cocoa Board and Wafi Golpu as one of the impact areas of the Wafi Golpu project. Chairman of the cooperative, Ruben Yapi, said the partnership's support comes as a relief as cocoa farmers have been struggling on their own for years. A major part of their challenges are bad roads and rundown cemeteries. Mr. Yapi said the support has seen an increase in cocoa plantations. However, the problem with processing wet beans and transporting them to lay remains a concern.
Now all Pama now planning nupla seedlings. Na cocoa no embego. The biggest problem me, I'm now cacao, I'm ready now. How by me by processing? So suppose you government stop now, you hurry me now. You get your X up.
Labuta is an LLG in the Nawai district. It is some hours away from Leh City. Mr. Yapi said although not far from Leh, the area has been faced with challenges similar to that of very remote areas. Bad roads have also affected market vendors in the area who have stopped traveling to Leh to sell their produce. Mr. Yapi has made an appeal to the government to fix the bad roads, which has been one of the main challenges.
Me no ask him government to come and give me money or give me Pama money. Responsibility of government and responsibility you provide him services where you go inside of government. You provide him road network, you provide him logistic support. Now, cacao by come out, now me by see money, me build him school, me build him infrastructure, house sick now or something, me yet can walk him.
According to the Cocoa Board, Morbe has made 38 million kina from cocoa export. Mr. Yapi says that figure can be increased if cooperatives are well funded. Charlene Airy, National EMTV News, Leh.
And now looking at the NASFund market report, the kina closed unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina is buying $0.2775 $0.3889 Australian dollars, $0.2392 euro, and 31.37 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher. Coffee and cocoa closed higher and copper closed lower. Crude oil is trading higher, palm oil closed higher and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading higher and the Ordinaries is trading higher. National EMTV News continues with more stories after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. The people of Delena in the Karukuhiri district of Central Province will now have access to basic health services right at their doorstep. This was made possible when the rundown community aid post was refurbished and opened over the weekend. The aid post rehabilitation was an initiative of the community, supported by a local community development program.
Delena is one of the remote areas in the Karukuhiri district of Central Province. Despite its remoteness, the people gathered over the weekend to celebrate an important milestone, and that is the opening of their newly refurbished aid post. The opening of the aid post will ensure the people receive medical attention right at their doorstep. This was an initiative of the community with support from lawyer Keith Iduhu through the KI Community Development Program.
That is not an unreasonable vision to have. That we should also aspire to take this facility to the next level as a basic fundamental service in human development and human protection.
The KI Community Program has been very supportive in terms of logistics, materials, and even capacity assistance in the completion of this project.
Reliable health services have been a challenge for the people of Delena and neighboring villages for many years. The only health facility was run down and left idle with no community health worker. With no better road access to the area, traveling to the nearest health center has been a costly exercise. The people had to walk long distances to a nearby boat stop to catch a 30-kina boat ride to Yule Island, where the nearest health facility is located, and people have died while seeking medical attention.
Today's occasion brings memories back to some couple of years, when a mother was very sick and her family tried their very best to take her to Yule Island Hospital. Unfortunately, she died on the way. Again, some months later, from the same village, a young mother was having complications in giving birth, died on the shores of Yule Island. There have been similar cases faced by Nabuapaka, Delena, Pokama, Nikura, as well as Yare, Boroborona, and Oroi people.
What a shame when a people who are so intelligent and have donated so much to Papua New Guinea's development agenda are not getting anything or enough from the country we say we belong to.
Open for use to the public.
The newly refurbished 8-post comes with an outpatient and a treatment room. With support from Borneo Pharmaceuticals, the 8-post was supplied with medical drugs and consumables. They're calling on the government and the Central Provincial Health Authority to ensure a community health worker is stationed in the area to serve the people.
This is our appeal as a people to the authorities and the Central Provincial Health Authority to send a health extension officer or medical officer to come and reside in this village at their cost to look after our people and to equip it more.
Rayon Lakingu National, EMTV News.
Oil and gas developer Total Energy says it will continue to provide logistics support toward Kapuna Rural Hospital. Total Energy's Managing Director Jean-Marc Norey says the company embraces partnership for better service delivery. He made these remarks during the opening of the Kapuna Rural Hospital recently in remote Gulf.
Speaking at the opening of the Kapuna Rural Hospital, the head of Total Energy says partnership is the secret behind the operation of this level 4 health facility. He says the company embraces this relationship. The oil and gas developer says it wants to ensure people access better health services in this part of the country.
And shortly after, in 2017, we initiated a memorandum of understanding to articulate our relationship. We highly regard this relationship as we recognize the value of Kapuna's services to the community in the Kikori district.
The Kapuna Rural Hospital will serve nearly over 40,000 people. But rebuilding this health facility saw the good support of Total Energies in the past 2 years. Mr. Norey says the company will continue to play its role.
So we look forward to exploring opportunities to work with both provincial and national governments and our project partners.
With the Kapuna Rural Hospital now open to serve, supporting this health facility is crucial going forward. Mr. Norey is confident this facility will be God's hand. He maintained that Total Energies will provide the support to the people of Kikori, the Gulf Provincial Government and National Government.
Stakeholder collaborative partnership is the preferred approach in this time and age, where the Sustainable Development Goals are becoming a universal ambition for all of us, in governments, in civil societies, and in business as a whole. Relationships, partnership, teamwork and collaboration, with each partner optimizing their own strengths, that is the DNA of Total Energy. And it's indeed reflected in the values that guide our company. We will build on this to deliver our Papua LNG project.
Jack Lapava Jr., National, EMTV News.
The Kiunga Secondary School in Western Province lacks proper science equipment and laboratories for its science students. This has resulted in students not performing well for the past decade. And with the commencement of the 2022 academic year this week, concerns have been raised on students learning in the province.
Over the past years, Kiunga Secondary School has lacked proper materials for its science lab with inclusion of equipments for its science students. This ongoing problem had affected students' practical lessons, particularly in chemistry, biology and physics subjects. The first science lab used since the establishment of the school in the early 1960s were burnt down in 2011 by some students raging over their poor academic performances. Since then, the school had no practical equipment and labs for students to learn. Former grade 12 science students Austin Waimona and Jones Williams say they have not learned well in chemistry and other science subjects, but would like to see change for the students who go through their former secondary school.
And I didn't learn much, especially in science courses. It's chemistry because of no proper equipment to learn. And the school has to look at this condition. And if it continues, it will affect the upcoming ones. And school has to address, and government has to look at this condition and fund some money to build science labs to help the students to continue with their education, because the students, we are the upcoming leaders for this Western province.
Despite these challenges, teachers have continued to teach over 700 students enrolled annually to ensure students are educated. A concerned parent in Kiunga, Kuso Wangi, whose child will be doing grade 11 this year in KSS, says the Provincial Education Division and the Fly River Provincial Government has to look into this issue immediately.
So Kiunga Secondary, the Western Province Government or the Education Department goes to look seriously into the school. That's where the whole citizens of PNG will grow when we put more money or more service into the school. So the way I see in this school, how I look at in this school, yes, the last year previous students, their main concern about the science lab. It is very desperately needed. They need a proper equipment apparatus to learn more.
Meanwhile, the Western Provincial Education Division has responded to the issues, quoting they are aware of the issue and will help support the school. Provincial Education Advisor Charlie Buya says a funding of 800,000 kina has been allocated for all high and secondary schools within the province, which will be used to purchase basic science equipments for the schools.
We will be looking at some of those basic needs, so basic school supplies. We also want to look at science equipment for the schools. We've got funds available there now for high schools, and so seriously we'll be looking at trying to get equipment. The government has been, the department has been providing us science materials. The last supply of kit that I know about is about 2 years ago.
Jamie Harrow, National EMTV News.
Trukai Sports is next. All the details after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The Queen's baton for this year's Commonwealth Games in Birmingham has ended its tour in the country. After its arrival last Saturday, the relay baton travelled to East Sepik Province, home of Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare. And back in Port Moresby, the Queen's baton, a symbol of unity for Commonwealth countries, was hosted at Government House last night.
Her Majesty Queen has shared her message with us and the rest of the Commonwealth, which is securely stored in this baton before you, or before all of us. We look forward to hearing the message comes in July in Birmingham. To our host province, East Sepik, and Governor Honorable Alan Baird, you have embodied and ignited the values of hope, solidarity, and collaboration as we witnessed the baton ceremoniously traveled to distinct parts of the mighty Sepik River. Your conviction and color represents the very best part of the home of the founding father of this nation, the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Somare. Despite the difficult circumstances facing us locally and globally with coronavirus pandemic, the visitation of the baton has brought back the renewed sense of possibility. The Commonwealth Games is a festival of sports and culture. The Queen's Baton journey to Papua New Guinea and beyond would not have been possible without the hard work of the various organizing committee who are here today and around the Commonwealth. You are reminding us of the significance of sports and our very own unique and diverse culture. So we want to thank you.
Jamie Pang has more than 20 clubs which include boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai and other forms of mixed martial arts that are affiliated with the mixed martial arts gym run by the businessman who was convicted of possessing illegal firearms and ammunition. The youths who are part of the gym have rallied behind Pang, acknowledging his support to sports.
The mixed martial arts gym located at Gordon's is a hub for boxers in the nation's capital. The gym is run by Jamie Pang, a businessman who was formerly charged and later on released by police on being in possession of illegal firearms and ammunition and producing methamphetamines. There are around 17 plus boxing clubs affiliated to Team Raka who train under the mixed martial arts gym.
All clubs will stop underneath me, Team Raka. Team Raka we program we mipla koranim through we mipla sim like support lo Jamie. So now mipla got game lo match.
For the boxing clubs that are part of the mixed martial arts gym, learning that Jamie Pang has been arrested and is being detained is a cause of concern for them.
There's been a lot of stories and a lot of misinformation and a lot of rumors and a lot of people that say things about him that don't really know him. And for those that do know him and that have been around him for a long time, we haven't had the opportunity to speak out.
Lahat we help him all plenty youths, so sense mindset youths. Nice lahat.
They say Pang has been somewhat of a role model and has been influential in helping these boxing clubs continue to operate and involve youths in the sport.
Nam tau ko wantem junior ko Raka wantem Jamie Pang lo improving all upcoming all boxes.
If such people like Junior Rakana, Jamie Pang, because lo idea na tintin na drima na goal blow, mi plo lislo youths underneath lo gerho, na plo sabab expressive penis, where mi plo can walk boom and also.
Walk in big play impact inside the boxing. Na MMA, boxing, kickboxing, as all.
Junior Raka, Karimi Council is la gym, 2019. Sabi amos lo junior lo sensoimi is la good plan.
Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. So are the details coming up next.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Moniplus. With you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Cloudy periods with rain showers and drizzles in Port Moresby, Daru and Kerma. Cloudy with a few showers and possible thunderstorms in Alotau and some patchy rain showers. Then cloudy weather in Popondetta. In the Mamasa region, cloudy with some rain showers and drizzles, and inland morning fog in Leh. Cloudy with patchy rain drizzles at times in Medang, Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, patchy rain showers, then cloudy weather in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and patchy rain drizzles, then cloudy weather in Buka and some showers and thunderstorms in Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, cloudy with patchy rain showers and drizzles in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kondiawa, Mendi and Wabeg. Thin morning fog right across the region. Forecast for small crafts for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG, Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Islands and Karamatayul Island and Hood Point to Samari Island, seas of 2 to 3 meters. Waters of Samari Islands to Cape Vogel and eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, seas of 1.5 to 3.5 meters. Waters north of Cape Vogel to Huon Gulf and Finschhafen, with waters of Long Island to Medang and Karkar Island to Wewak and Vanimo to northern PNG Indonesian border, with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, including waters of New Ireland to Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Finschhafen through Vitiaz and Dampier Straits to Siasi and Long Islands, and with waters of West New Britain and East New Britain, seas of 1.5 to 3 meters. A look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. In the Coral Sea, seas rough to very rough, with southwest to northwesterly winds at 25 to 33 knots, reaching up to 45 knots with gusts. In the Solomon Sea, seas moderate to patches rough, with northwesterly winds at 20 to 30 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas light to moderate, with northwesterly winds at 10 to 20 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas light with north to northeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for Tuesday, 1st of February 2022. On behalf of the EMTV news team, pleasant viewing and be safe.